Szanowni Państwo, witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie na gali wieczornej pierwszego dnia konferencji Future4Build. Ci z Państwa, którzy są z nami od rana, od godziny 9, bardzo się cieszę, że Państwo są z nami do tej pory i zapraszamy do samych godzin wieczornych. Rozpoczynamy galę wieczorną już teraz. Pierwszym prezenterem będzie pan Marek Krawczyński, architekt, który dzisiaj już był z nami wcześniej na panelu dyskusyjnym rannym, więc niektórzy Państwo już mieli okazję go poznać. Natomiast teraz usłyszycie Państwo więcej na temat jego najnowszego projektu, który używa aż 7 odnawialnych energii w jednym projekcie architektonicznym. Bardzo serdecznie zapraszam. Potem będziemy mieli prezentację nagród Towarzystwa Urbanistów Polskich. Jest to 7. edycja tego konkursu. Mamy tutaj zaszczyt gościć reprezentację towarzystwa oraz samorządy nagrodzone w tym konkursie. To będzie o 17:30. Także już, żeby nie przedłużać, bardzo serdecznie zapraszam na scenę pana Marka Krawczyńskiego.
A very warm welcome to everyone here. Dziękuję bardzo, że wszyscy przyszli. Mamy takich licznych gości. Dziękuję bardzo. Za chwilę zaprezentuję krótkie wideo, które pokaże generalnie, o co chodzi w tym projekcie, a potem będą techniczne detale w ciągu następnych 15 minut. A potem zapraszam na pytania i mam nadzieję, że będą jakieś ciekawe, konkretne pytania, bo musimy współpracować nad ekologią i nad zrównoważonym budownictwem, bo to jest tylko kwestia właśnie wspólnego wysiłku. Więc zapraszam teraz na film. I will show, welcome to our most distinguished guests, the ambassadors of Thailand, Vansan Bonang. Thank you for coming. The ambassador of Slovenia, Marian Setinc. Welcome. The ambassador of Ireland, our good friend Eugene Hutchinson. Thank you for coming. And the Deputy Head of Mission of the Embassy of Mexico, Federico Chabot. Welcome. We are very pleased. It's very important that we actually show some practical solutions to the world, because next week, as you know, there is the World Global Warming Conference in Warsaw at the stadium. And it's very important that we talk about real solutions, about real practical problem solving. So I hope that this will be some sort of inspiration for us to talk about solutions. So now we'll have a 3.5-minute video. It's in English, so bear with me. I think you'll find it interesting. Thank you. Energy, clean water, the environment. As global population increases and nations grow in prosperity, our need for cheap, efficient energy, clean water, and a livable environment will continue to expand. These are the 3 key challenges facing humanity in this century. There are also 3 areas of significant opportunity for those willing to tackle those challenges with clever, innovative solutions. Imagine a landmark building which approaches these challenges with an integrated design and engineering strategy to take advantage of those significant opportunities and provide a solution which tackles all of the needs head-on. A building which harmoniously combines proven technologies to provide for all of its own energy needs and more. Elemental Flow Towers is this building. It takes its name from the managed flow of clean energy, which is drawn from the wind, from water, and from the fire of the sun, to provide one unified system of clean energy generation and storage. Our engineering calculations demonstrate that elemental flow will generate more power than it uses. It will produce this power right where it is needed, so as to fully eliminate the need for long-distance transmission and the associated losses. And its every system will be built to use latest technologies and practices to minimize its energy use and environmental footprint. It is also designed to take maximum advantage of natural light, which will provide comfortable surroundings for its occupants, be they residents, workers, customers, or even hotel guests. We are starting with a highly developed sense of detail and positive user experience in mind. The building's owner, in addition to economic gain, will achieve substantial marketing advantages, plus a massive public relations coup, which will have long-lasting effects. The project will enjoy inherent marketing value as a world leader in terms of design and its approach to energy generation and management, and the global awareness campaign which will surround it will translate directly into lower marketing costs and higher occupancy. In a highly competitive environment, these advantages will be of strategic value. Elemental Flow Towers relies on its distinctive design to make its mark and set down a milestone on the road towards clean, livable cities of the future. Beyond just wind, or just solar, or just geothermal, the building combines several energy production and storage systems in a mixed-use landmark project, designed from the first architectural sketch as a total solution rather than an afterthought or worse, window dressing. The energy system uses advanced photovoltaics, convection thermal conduits, highly efficient and whisper-quiet wind turbines, and several different kinds of water turbines depending on the site and local conditions. Every component of the overall system is designed to work with the surrounding elements, not against them. Rainwater, in addition to being collected and used on site, becomes a store of energy. The sun, in addition to feeding the arrays of photovoltaics, powers the thermal conduits, and the building itself is an enormous wind trap designed to accelerate the breeze from all four directions of the campus to drive the new generation adjustable turbines on all levels. Elemental Flow Towers points the way to how buildings of the future will be built, if we want our children to live in the kind of cities that we would wish for them. Thank you. So this is just the start to give you an appetizer of what's to come. There'll be more technical details in a minute, and we might change to a 3D view of the model, seen from different perspectives. And I will say the next part in Polish, so we'll have to translate back the other way. To, że wieżowce spalają najmniej energii, już wiedzą inżynierowie od wielu lat. Ale jak stworzyć taki wieżowiec, który nie używa żadnej dodatkowej energii, tylko sam ją produkuje? Czy to tylko marzenie? Na pewno nie. To jest możliwe w tej chwili. Elemental Flow Tower to najnowszy, wspaniały polski projekt dla całego świata. Polskie konsorcjum razem z kadrą międzynarodowych ekspertów zaprojektowało taki innowacyjny projekt, który nie tylko tworzy nowoczesne lokale dla 10 000 mieszkańców i pracowników, ale także będzie produkował całą własną energię, jak także ekstra zasilenie dla reszty środowiska. I to wszystko będzie tworzone z 7 systemów czystej technologii, które są zintegrowane, aby dostarczać tę energię dzień i noc, 24 godziny. To jeszcze nigdy nie było zrobione na świecie. Ten projekt był tworzony przez 12 miesięcy i jest następnym krokiem w ewolucji nowych technologii, które wynikną z wysiłków wielu krajów razem z tym słynnym projektem Masdar City. Tylko że nasz najnowszy projekt jest 3 razy bardziej zaawansowany, bo łączy wszystkie możliwe technologie od samego początku projektu. Czysta energia nie jest dobudowana na końcu, tylko jest podstawową koncepcją całego tego projektu. Ten rewelacyjny budynek także kreuje nowe zasady w innej bardzo ważnej kwestii dla naszego środowiska. Przerażający brak czystej wody na świecie. Przez lata od średniowieczy budynki chronią się przed deszczem i spuszczają czystą wodę rynnami na dół do rynsztoków miejskich. Potem te brudne rynsztoki prowadzą tą wodę do rzeki lub do odległej oczyszczalni, gdzie filtrujemy i czyścimy tą wodę, aby potem zużywać jeszcze więcej energii, aby ją pompować, tą oczyszczoną wodę, z powrotem pod górę do tych samych budynków, gdzie ona jest potrzebna. Ten innowacyjny nowy wieżowiec sam zbiera i filtruje własną wodę na miejscu w formie wielkiego odwróconego parasola na dachu. Dlaczego to nie było zrobione wcześniej? Pytają projektanci. I ja też się zastanawiam. Nasze najpilniejsze potrzeby to czysta woda i czyste powietrze dla naszych dzieci i wnuków. To było hasło, które inspirowało kadrę projektantów przez 12 miesięcy, bo uważają, że już za długo świat używa przestarzałe koncepcje w projektowaniu budynków i w produkcji energii. Ten polski projekt to dar dla świata. Detale będą za chwilę pokazane po raz pierwszy na tej technicznej konferencji Future4Build, która jest intencyjnie zaplanowana na tydzień przed Wielkim Klimatycznym Kongresem Światowym COP19 w Warszawie, aby liderzy świata mogli to omawiać i przemyśleć. To bardzo ważny temat dla nas wszystkich, ale najbardziej dla naszych dzieci i wnuków, aby później żyli w takim świecie, który my pragniemy dla nich. Dziękuję. A teraz przejdziemy, we will now have the concrete details of the whole project. Now, this is an innovative building. I will just give you a quick rundown of how we got to this point. Imagine, for a moment, we have been living in high-rise buildings for many, many years. And they're all pretty similar. And they all dump water to the sewers and to the stormwater systems. And it has to get cleaned afterwards and pumped back. Imagine a building which could be a landmark building which generates more power than it uses. A surplus of power. This is possible nowadays. It's existing technology. We don't have to rely on the fossil fuels that we've been using for the last few hundred years. In this building, we have proven technologies working in harmony. They complement each other. They work together, so you don't have any big drops in energy supply. When you have peak demand, you have plenty of energy during the day. When you have peak demand in the evening, you've got to make up for the losses when you have no sunlight. But here, all the technologies work together. And the amazing thing is that this building cost is comparable to any other skyscraper. There is no extra cost involved. If you plan all those elements into the building at the very beginning of the planning process. This is the first in the world large-scale energy-positive building. It's very important because we keep on talking about it. We've been talking about it for 40 years. And yet I don't know of one building which actually generates more power than it uses. Everybody claims this as a goal, but nobody has achieved it. Even Masdar City has been downgraded recently by the developers that they won't quite achieve the high success rate that they were expecting, even though it will cost $19 billion, which in Polish money is 60 billion zloty. Now, it's a very ambitious project, and I think it's a very important part of the evolution of clean energy buildings. We have to make various steps and keep on going forward. We've used Masdar City as an example, and we've developed the next stage in the process of making totally sustainable buildings. So we introduced to you elemental flow towers. We've worked with a consortium from Hong Kong as well, people from London, from France, from Australia, from many other countries. You know, the world really has amazing intellectual power. Poland also has amazing ability in design work. However, we live in a false hope that these problems aren't really problems yet. They might be problems in 10 or 20 years. Well, believe me, everyone, we have big problems in the world right now. Whether it is the plastic soup in the Pacific, whether it's the Fukushima disaster, or the problem in the Gulf of Mexico when BP had their big problems in the drilling of the oil fields. I mean, these problems are here and now. And that's on top of the existing pollution in the world, which is constantly increasing. Why are we just sitting back and saying, we'll fix it one day, but we don't have to worry yet? Well, believe me, we have to worry right now because the disasters are getting more frequent and the pollution is increasing all the time. So we've designed this building because we think it's a prototype. It'll be a model for buildings of the future. We need to rethink our planning strategies. Buildings shouldn't shed water. Buildings shouldn't throw light away. Buildings shouldn't put in reflective glass so they don't get more heat. They should be absorbing the energy of the sun and the wind and the water, as we have done in this building. Now, this whole process started with what we thought was a tree of life. This was one of the first sketches we used. Why aren't the buildings catching sunlight and water like trees do? I mean, trees survive for a long time. They've been around for ages. They use all this energy. They work with the environment, with the elements in the environment. We have to also do this with buildings. We've been defensive in our building construction since medieval times, when we sat in a hut and the thatched roof used to throw the water away and waste it into the ground. Well, we can't do this anymore. We can't just keep on throwing water away down the sewers, down the stormwater, and clean it 100 kilometers away in a water treatment plant. We have to use the water where it's clean, where it's coming from the rainfall. It's still relatively clean before we pollute the planet anymore. We should be using this water on the spot, without transmission through thousands of kilometers of sewer lines, stormwater lines, the same as with electricity. There is a better way to do all this, but we have to think afresh. So elemental flow towers will look like this. There are many variants of this. We will adapt each building to each location. We have 5 locations in mind in the world right now. We are in discussions with Dubai. Hopefully there may be a chance to maybe do this in Thailand. Climatically, geographically, this is the ideal location for us. It may be Mexico, it may even be Ireland, or it may be Slovenia. Any of those places are a potential good site for this project. It could be Poland. You know, I think Poland has the greatest intellectual advantage because it has enormous intellectual power and great education. We haven't got the political will to do very effective big projects, apart from a nuclear power station, which I hope will not come to fruition. But we have amazing design ability, which we should show to the world. Perhaps this should be our symbol of Polish success. We are looking for new icons, not the Palace of Culture, not Auschwitz. We need icons in Poland. I think the icon in Poland could be the intellectual energy that went into this project. It is only the beginning. This is only the sketch design at this stage. We need another 6 to 12 months of design development to make this project a reality to be built. But the basics have been done. And I'm very pleased that we've done this so far. Here you can see a few visualizations of this building in various locations. This is the solar array roof, which is amazing construction, but do you know it's basic building technology for bridges? We've been using this sort of technology for 40 years, but not on buildings. We've been building wonderful bridges, but why can't we build a large catchment area on the roof of a building using simple bridge technology? These are simple bridge construction elements. This may be clad in different materials, it could be enclosed. We have still a lot of details to work out. In the center of this building is an enormous set of turbines, which are being driven by compressed wind. And I'll explain more about this later in the next set of slides. Variations on the theme and color. The top area has no solar panels because it's in shade. This is comparing it to a few other projects in the world. Our building is one of the taller ecologically friendly buildings. Everybody's trying to do ecologically friendly, but nobody's achieved 100% yet. We are pretty sure, we are very confident that we will achieve 150% of energy usage in this building, creating 50 megawatts of power for 10,000 residents. 10,000 residents is a small town. It's a vertical town. In China, they're doing one that's going to be a kilometer high, 4 times bigger than ours. I personally think that's an overkill. They are trying to be the biggest because they want to show that they are the greatest. We don't need to prove any points with this ecological building. We are just trying to provide the best sustainable environment and the best sustainable building in the world, not the highest. We don't have to have an ego to make it 1 kilometer high to beat Dubai. We are making the best building because that's what we need right now in the world. It's not a matter of ego beating somebody else. It's a matter of making the most energy efficient building. So we have a very experienced team. Butch Dalrymple-Smith, for example, is a world-famous sail and turbine designer. He built the biggest yacht in the world a few years ago. He knows everything there is to know about wind power. We've got a Polish guy, Kuba Janus, who I think may have arrived back from Wrocław right now. He's done an enormous amount of work with us. Terry Spinolo has a huge practice in Hong Kong working with us. He's won awards in China for the most ecological buildings in the world last year. And I am the modest initiator of the Sol concept because I happen to be lucky in Australia to have worked on the most complicated building in the world, which was the Opera House. We did the impossible, but we did it because we were determined we had to finish it. I had to actually do the rebuilding of it because it was too small. I had to build 3 floors underwater. I've had experience in very large projects. It's a big and exciting challenge. We should all work together to solve problems on that scale. The planet needs our help, our combined positive energy. So that's the story on elemental flow towers. I will now go to the next set of slides, which will explain some of the technology details of this project, because there are quite a few. I'll go through it very briefly because I know as time is short, but I hope it will explain to you why this building is not a fantasy. This is not a fantasy that we are going to plan in the future. This is using technology of today. This is already working. Many buildings have one of these systems working, whether it's a wind turbine or solar panels or wind or water turbines. They all work already, but no one has combined 8 systems together. So I'll show you what this means in this set of slides. That's how it looks now. Remember this little catchphrase. I mean, everybody knows this, I'm sure. Einstein said this years ago. It basically relates to the fact that we had more constructive, more innovative thought back then. You know, is endless energy, clean energy possible in the world? Everybody says, we're running out of energy. Not true at all. We are just using it inappropriately. There is so much of it everywhere that there should be enough for everyone on this planet. Einstein said this, that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's quite true. It's always here. It just needs to be transformed from one type of energy to another. It will always be on this earth if we don't pollute it, if we don't waste it. We are wasting it and we are polluting it. You know, this is the way that we lived 20,000 years ago. We think, well, what has that got to do with today? Well, believe me, we are still using the same technologies. Just that the fireplace, the campfire, has become a huge furnace using wood or crude oil or coal. We are still using the same mentality. We have to change from this. All these things pollute the atmosphere. We could have 1,000 campfires 20,000 years ago. There were only 50,000 people living on this earth. There are 6.5 billion people living on this earth. We can't use the same primitive methods that we used 20,000 years ago. It just doesn't work. We end up with this. We start using oil, timber, gas, shale gas, or even nuclear power. They are all dangerous or polluting to the extreme. It's time we looked at our own planet and decided that we want to go clean. Sustainable building is all about not destroying the environment. Do you know that the world right now runs out of positive use? The way we consume our resources, they run out about August each year. The rest of the time we are overusing the planet by draining more from it than we can actually put back in because we are wasting it and polluting it. Now we really have to start thinking afresh. Can you imagine this? Endless clean energy. Now this picture I took only a few years ago in New Zealand, Maita Peak. Beautiful country. Why are there so few places like this left in the world today? Australia tried to set up a national park, a marine park around Antarctica recently. A few countries opposed it. We are playing with silly politics. A veto of a few countries, and 120 nations couldn't agree to make a marine park which would create this sort of environment in a large part of this planet. We need to save the planet. We can't keep on polluting it. It can hardly breathe as it is. Now, we feel comfortable here because we're in a clean, relatively clean country. But think of what's happening in Africa. It's polluting at an enormous rate. China is polluting so badly that they constantly have to fix people who are dying of lung disease. We are not very healthy in Poland because of Chernobyl, because of coal-fired boilers. We are also pretty heavily polluted by coal particles. We need to think more about that sort of goal. We should be aiming for that. If all the main clean energy sources, and there are, as far as I have worked out, 9 of them, we have been able to use 7 of them in one building because that works. Others we can add, but it's not even necessary. We can already produce 150% of power, 50 megawatts, using 7 systems of clean energy. We don't need shale gas. We don't need nuclear. And I'll tell you the problem with this in a minute. We can avoid the huge cost of visual pollution of high-tension transmission towers because we create the energy where it's needed. If you've got 10,000 people living there, create the energy in that location. Not 200 kilometers away where you build a nuclear power station to be safe, away from all the city centers, and then you build millions, you spend billions of dollars on transmission lines, which waste power anyway. It's not 100% what you get from the source. At the receiving point, you end up with 80%. So you're already wasting energy and wasting the cost of transmission lines. Now, it sounds like an unachievable utopia that you can create all this clean energy. Well, it's because we have to start thinking from basics again. Rethink our existing strategies. We're not doing this. We are repeating more of the same and doing it faster and better and making more money out of it. Stop thinking about just money. Think about comfortable living conditions. Think about the environment. A new world would mean clean water plus 7 clean energies. Is it a utopia? The goals are to combine all natural clean elements, to collect all clean water possible, to balance and integrate all of these in one huge project. The ultimate aim for us was to produce 50 megawatts of power with 0 pollution for 10,000 people living in modern comfort in one amazing, clean, vertical village. There are some people might have some difficulty in living in a high-rise building. Believe me, in Hong Kong, they're quite comfortable with it. Many parts of the world have high-rise buildings, and unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I like a little country cottage with a picket fence like the Americans do, but we can't afford to think in those terms for the next 100 years. We can't have 7 billion people living in little cottages with a picket fence because the infrastructure to those buildings will be so enormous that we'll use up all the Earth's resources and poison ourselves to death. We have to start thinking high-rise because, unfortunately, everybody's moving to cities, and cities aren't whole bunches of little cottages. Cities are high-rise buildings. So let's make them as good as we can, and that's why we've introduced to the world the elemental flow tower. It's setting new standards for the 21st century in building typology. What sorts of buildings do we use? We don't live in tents, we don't live in cottages, we live in high-rise buildings. But let's make them the best that we can with our current technology. Our current technology, the EFT concept, it's all powered by the sun, 3 systems, by the wind, 2 systems, and water, also 2 clean energy systems, using proven technologies, 7 of them, that are totally safe. These are not rocket science fantasies. These are all technologies that already exist. It provides clean and never-ending power, and it also catches priceless rainwater. Now, believe me, in the next 20 years, the world will be really running out of water. I don't know how many of you have read the United Nations reports, but 850 million people in the world right now are dying due to lack of potable water, drinking clean water, and due to unhygienic conditions. Now, that to me is horrendous. That's more than the population of Europe. When are we going to say enough is enough? No, we're going to make more money. We'll make more nuclear power stations. We'll dig more coal. I'm sorry, but that's the wrong direction. Shale gas? I'm not sure. We need to do more research, but we're rushing into it. I think we're trying to find ways of making quick money. But think about it. Challenge your politicians. Challenge your corporations. It's no good that there are big advertisements on television for those people who don't want to read, who say, we care. We want to have a clean environment. And then they drill 5,000 shower gas drills and poison the subsurface water, the groundwater. This is not the answer. We have to be more responsible. With our project, we are not reinventing the wheel. This is nothing revolutionary. We are just reusing it in 7 new, unique, integrated, and mutually supportive ways to produce constant power without the usual peaks and troughs. The biggest problem with solar is that you've got none of it at night. Well, we've covered it with wind and with water turbines. But are we brave enough to rethink our energy strategies? Can we reinvent ourselves? We have to really reinvent ourselves and start a new mindset. Let's save our environment. Our kids and our grandkids deserve it. We can't just keep on rushing ahead, making more money, and let somebody else fix it in 50 years. It won't get fixed. Fukushima won't get fixed for 200 years and more. Now, how was that for lack of responsibility? We should have been actually had a better emergency plan to save that situation. The whole plant didn't blow up, it just didn't have power. Nobody considered supplying power from naval ships in the sea, which is only half a kilometer away from the plant. You know, we are not responsible in our approach to how we handle energy. I mean, Chernobyl, there are thousands of people in Poland with thyroid disease. Nobody's admitting it officially, but that's a medical fact. We are polluting ourselves much faster than we realize because the media doesn't talk about it because it's better to make more money and the big corporations will make more money by creating more pollution. Gee, we just won't talk about it. Well, I'm sorry, but a lot of people are making bad mistakes. Australia has just decided to go back to brown coal production in the power stations. I mean, goodness, how far back do you want to go? This is a retrograde step. Is anybody questioning it? Well, all the thinking people in Australia are, but they won an election for different reasons. You know, politics are destroying us. Corporations are not morally responsible. We have to challenge these things. We are too complacent. I believe that our indifference is what's causing the destruction of this planet. Because, gee, it's too difficult for me. In Poland especially, we are not socially active. We are not socially responsible. If the government decides to do something, we complain about it and then we go back and watch television. I mean, we don't challenge our leaders, and so they don't do responsible decisions. We have to go that way. Otherwise, we're not reinventing ourselves. We're just doing the same mistakes that we've done for the last 100 years. Now, I can tell you this 100% guaranteed. Is it possible to have clean energy and to reduce costs and make a profit? I mean, make a profit is the most important thing in everybody's lives, it seems. Doesn't matter how we live. We can be dying of pollution, but let's make a lot of money. Well, it's possible even to do that with clean energy. It absolutely is possible if you think big, because unfortunately scale has big benefits in cost savings, in effective cost management. If we think new, from new basics, new concepts, and think clean. Think clean. Everything that we do has to have a name of the aim of creating a clean environment. But you have to do this from basics. So we use our 7 integrated energy technologies together for 10,000 occupants. I won't go through all these figures because it's too much. When I wrote this 6 months ago, only 700 million people were dying of lack of water and clean conditions. Now it's gone to 850 million. 150 million more people are dying because of bad environmental conditions just in the last 6 months. I mean, how much worse will it get? Sure, it's Africa, and we probably don't worry that much about it. It's beyond our comfort zone. Well, people, we are living on this planet together. We can connect through the internet to anyone on this planet. Why are we not concerned about Africa? Parts of Asia are polluting themselves to death. China is a prime example. Some cities you can't walk out in the middle of the day. When are we going to say enough is enough? We have to start thinking 7 integrated clean energy technologies, which include, we have a huge solar array roof, 3 football fields in size. It is horizontal, so it collects the biggest amount of solar power. It's no good putting solar panels on walls of buildings. It's not enough. The angle is not appropriate. You lose about 60% of the 15% energy that you get from solar panels. It just doesn't work. It's a sales gimmick. It has to be on the roof. The sides can be an addition, but on their own, they don't succeed. Now, on our building, we have all the roof panels, all the wall panels. We have 100,000 square meters of photovoltaics on this building. That will produce 12 megawatts of power. Now, we are still confirming all these figures because we are trying to be conservative. But let's think of what we want to achieve. We have to have a goal. Not just we will achieve 10%, we'll be very proud because we can put an ad in the paper that we are an energy-conscious building. 10% doesn't solve it. It's still 90% of dirty energy. Let's be real. It can be all clean if we think about it from the beginning. Our building is surrounded by 40 thermal chimneys which capture superheated air from the enormous podium roofs and additionally accelerated by convection to drive 40 more power-generating turbines. It's virtually free energy, just that you've got to build it into the building in the very beginning. The giant 4 wings of this building are also molded to create a giant wind tunnel in 4 directions, which concentrates, compresses the wind, and accelerates it. Now, wind farms in the open field are great, but when it's blowing less than 5 kilometers an hour, they don't work. The fans stop. The turbines, the big wind farms. In our building, when it's 5 kilometers, the building compresses the wind and accelerates it to 20 kilometers. They will drive any turbine. But you've got to think about this from the beginning. You can't just put up another 100,000 windmills and say, we've done it, we've solved the problem. That's only part of the solution. The windmills are away from the city. You've got to then have transmission lines, transformers, lose 20% of the power in the transmission and the transformation. It's not necessary. And some people say that the fans, the big windmills in the country are bad for the environment, for birds, for people, for epileptics, etc. You know, we don't need to do this. It's not the most efficient way. It was efficient 20 years ago when Al Gore bought all these fans and he has to sell them. I mean, I don't want to criticize anybody, but we are always lagging behind by at least 20 years in our thinking. Things are changing so fast. Think back 30 years. Nobody had a mobile phone. Think how fast that has changed. We can't live without one now. Let's use technologies that are up to date. Let's combine them in a modern, integrated, smart way. Otherwise, we're not going to get ahead of all this. Our building also has 56 horizontal axis turbines in each of the 8 gravity towers, where millions of liters of rainwater are accelerated by 250 meters of gravity. If you have water on the roof, the building is more stable. They use this on big towers in the world just for stability. But when you have water on the roof, you have kinetic power, which can generate 6 megawatts of power. By dropping this water down enormous downpipes, you can build in a water turbine every 7 stories, which has enormous power capacity. This is also free energy, but you've got to design it at the beginning. In the river, I mean, most cities are built on rivers. If you have a large river, you can put deep water turbines. People are saying hydroelectric power is dead, it's too old. But that's because 25 years ago you had to build a dam to make a hydroelectric power station. You don't have to do this nowadays. You have very efficient, specially molded, computer drawn up deep water turbines which can move slowly, but large amounts of water. They don't turn the fish into sushi. They don't destroy the navigation on the river like I've shown here. They're deep water, they move slowly, and they generate 6 megawatts of power for a building. Then during the day when you've got maximum sun, you pump water from the river to the roof tanks. You know that at midday, this building will generate something like 40 megawatts of power, and you only need 30. So you've got 10 megawatts of spare power. At that time, you pump the water to roof tanks, and at 5 p.m., 5 to 7, which is a normal peak for buildings when everybody's going home in the lifts, and people are coming in with vacuum cleaners and all the lights are on, that's when you've got a peak of energy need. But the sun's gone, so how do you save the energy? Well, with huge sodium batteries, they're very expensive and poisonous. Now you keep the water on the roof tank, and at 5 o'clock you release it for 2 hours, and you make 8 megawatts of power. You're not losing energy. It's all there. You just have to use it cleverly. So this is an amazing achievement in ecological design. It was a big challenge. We really started off with how do you make the best energy factory in the world and combine it with really luxurious living accommodation? Well, by building a building like this. It wasn't overnight, but it is the most ingenious and effective building design of the 21st century and should be a model for ecologically responsible building typology and technology for future generations. So it gives me great pleasure to present this elemental flow towers project, totally powered by the sun, because the wind and the rain are also powered by the sun. It's convection, it's evaporation. We have all this energy here. We have more energy on this planet than we need if we use it wisely and not just think about making money from old-fashioned systems. So please contact our management team or look up our project on elementalflowtowers.com. There is a short video, there are some explanations of the project, and you can talk to our experts about what we're doing, the details. This is step number 1. This is the first exposure to the world of this project. We are willing to start negotiations with research institutions, with developers. This is big. This is $1.5 billion worth of building. But how much is a nuclear power station? $19 billion. If you can afford to build this, you can afford to build 10 of these and not have a nuclear power station, not have the risk, not have the millions of kilometers of high-tension transmission lines. You know that there are something like 6 million kilometers of high-tension transmission lines in the world now, which create health problems, and they're unnecessary. Why are we going the same way? We keep on adding more. We have to think new, think smart, and think safely. So, I think I've gone backwards, so I'll change the slide again. And that's the end of my presentation. I hope that it gives you food for thought, and I hope that next week at the Global Climate Conference, I hope there'll be some talk about really using clean energy effectively. It's not just making new concepts, new regulations, new agendas for next time. Let's start thinking about solutions and try and improve them and see if they really work. That's what we have to think about. Finding answers now, not at the next COP21, 2021, 22. The next one's going to be in Peru. Great. The next one will be somewhere else. And in 10 years' time, we'll be still asking the same questions. Why is the world poisoning itself to death? Because we have to analyze possible solutions and try and improve them. If you have good ideas to add to this or comments that will make it even better, please write into us. On that website, there's an email address. This is an effort for everybody together. We are responsible, each one of us, as a human being, for the well-being of this planet. It's our planet. Nobody's going to come and save us in 50 years' time when we're poisoned to death. It's our responsibility to demand better solutions and better results, and let's think about those and improve on what we've proposed here. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions because I'm sure there are some challenging ones. The more challenging, the better. So please don't be shy. If you have an idea or if you think something about this is not realistic, please say so. We'd like to find out if we are making a mistake somewhere. 12 experts in the world have told us this is the greatest thing they've seen. But please, ask a question. Here we have, the microphone is just coming to you.
Dzień dobry Państwu, mam na imię Ewa Wierzchowska, jestem inżynierem sanitarnym. Bardzo dziękuję Marku, że mnie tu zaprosiłeś. Rzeczywiście jestem pod wrażeniem, jak my wszyscy, myślę, tego projektu. No, oszczędność energii i to, że aż tyle rodzajów energii jest wykorzystane w tym projekcie, naprawdę powala i no, dla mnie po prostu jest to bardzo ekscytujące. Natomiast no, myślę tutaj o Tobie jako koledze, jesteś inżynierem i zawsze miałam no, taką ogromną estymę dla architektów, ponieważ ja rozumiem, że wykorzystanie tych wszystkich rodzajów energii no jakby narzuca formę architektoniczną, no bo myślę, że to najpierw trzeba myśleć o wykorzystaniu wszystkich sposobów, żeby móc dopasować no, tą resztę. I powiedz mi, czy no oczywiście priorytetem jest ta oszczędność energii, wykorzystanie i pozbawienie się strat energii na wszystkich przesyłach, gdyby trzeba było taki budynek zasilać z zewnątrz, ale czy nie ogranicza to w jakiś sposób no, architekta, którego zawsze miałam za artystę? Czy to po prostu nie będzie jakaś monotonia w środowisku z punktu widzenia no, estetyki?
Mogę odpowiedzieć z wielką pewnością, że no, forma jest rezultatem funkcjonowania budynku. Budynki mogą być podobne, że wszystkie będą zbierały deszcz i słońce, ale forma tego może być wielojaka. Tutaj mamy jeden przykład, który już jest w różnych, no, w 4 wersjach. Pomyślmy, jakie wieżowce budujemy. Wszystkie są generalnie szerokie na dole, wąskie na górze i spuszczają wodę. Wszystkie wieżowce są bardzo podobne. Ale teraz byłem w Dubaju i architektura każdego wieżowca jest indywidualna i bardzo ciekawa. A wszystkie są właściwie takie same. Grube na dole, cienkie na górze, albo proste po prostu. I mają jakieś dekoracje. Czy ten budynek jest elegancki? Mnie się bardzo podoba ta forma, bo to jest smukła. No akurat to nie jest najlepsze zdjęcie tego, albo najlepsza wizualizacja, ale te formy mogą się zmieniać. To nie musi być akurat tej samej wysokości, tej samej szerokości, tylko pokazujemy to jako prototyp, że budynki powinny używać wszystkie elementy z environment, z otoczenia. Słońce, wodę, wiatr w wielu formach. I to jest najbardziej odpowiedni kształt, żeby to wszystko osiągnąć. Ale oczywiście, czy jest taki wysoki, albo taki szeroki, albo taki gruby, nie gra roli. To się będzie zmieniało i wykończenie każdego budynku będzie troszkę inne. Nawet te fotowoltaiki na bokach już nie są konieczne, bo mamy za dużo energii w tym budynku. I to jest nasz największy, zadziwiający problem. Mamy za dużo energii. I to mnie właśnie zachwyciło, że po co wszyscy narzekają, że jest brak energii na świecie? Wcale nie, tylko że używamy złe systemy. I jak tych fotowoltaików na ścianach nie musimy używać, bo to jest po prostu te ekstra 1,5 megawata, których nie potrzebujemy. I to jest jednak ekstra 70 000 metrów kwadratowych fotowoltaików, że tego nawet nie musimy instalować. Co jest jeszcze bardziej ciekawe, że teraz fotowoltaiki są takie tanie, nawet te w dobrej jakości 18% zwrotu energii słonecznej, że można wstawiać fotowoltaiczne panele zamiast okien. Bo podwójna glazura jest prawie tego samego kosztu jak dobra fotowoltaika. Dlaczego o tym się nie mówi w tej chwili? No bo chcemy używać więcej energii z węgla i z ropy naftowej. No i ciągle chcemy po prostu robić pieniądze z tego, co już mamy. Zapytał mnie ktoś ostatnio, a co się stanie, jak będzie ta czysta energia? Co zrobią górnicy? No, to jest ciekawe pytanie, ale ja proponuję tak, że to zajmie może 20 lat, ale górnicy kolejno będą się transferowali do przedsiębiorstw i będą pracowali w czystych fabrykach, może o wiele krócej, nie te wszystkie godziny, które mają teraz, w czystych fabrykach, w czystych warunkach, będą budowali turbiny, będą budowali spusty, będą produkowali fotowoltaiki. To nie jest właśnie trudna technologia, to już jest taka codzienna technologia. I dlaczego tacy ludzie by nie mogli się zaangażować w taką pracę? Nie od razu. Oczywiście no, to zajmie 20-30 lat, żeby wszystko przeszło w ten kierunek. Ale węgla też zabraknie za 100 lat. Musimy się do tego przygotować. W Dubaju się bardzo tym interesują, bo wiedzą, że mają bardzo dużo ropy jeszcze, ale za 60 lat to już będą się trochę martwić i chcą się nauczyć, jak mogą projektować budynki, które tylko używają energię słoneczną. No Masdar City był świetnym przykładem tego. Chcieli właśnie zrobić cudo świata. Prawie, że się udało, ale jest teraz lepsza metoda, żeby połączyć jeszcze inne technologie, żeby to było jeszcze lepsze. A czy to będzie nudna architektura? Wydaje mi się, że nie. Bo budynki generalnie są po prostu prostokątne, kolumny i belki, a my tutaj robimy coś bardziej ciekawego i robimy wielki żagiel na dachu, który jest bardzo starą technologią. Takie rzeczy się robi na żaglowcach, robi się takie mosty. Dlaczego tego nie robimy w architekturze? To jest ładne połączenie form, które już istnieją. Więc mam nadzieję, że to odpowiedziało pytanie tak nie bezpośrednio, ale jest dużo ciekawych elementów w tym wszystkim i też proszę właśnie o pomysły, o komentarze, bo wtedy będziemy to mogli polepszać ciągle. Dziękuję.
Szanowni Państwo, ja bardzo przepraszam. Ja wiem, że jest mnóstwo pytań, natomiast musimy uszanować też czas konferencji i to, że Towarzystwo Urbanistów Polskich czeka ze swoim rozwiązaniem konkursu, więc ja proponuję, żeby te wszystkie pytania, które Państwo mają w tej chwili, zatrzymać na tą część bardziej kameralną, powiedzmy jak już skończymy część oficjalną, zaprosimy Państwa na zewnątrz, tam czeka później poczęstunek i mamy cały tak zwany party mixer, gdzie możemy rozmawiać o tych wszystkich dzisiejszych sprawach w szerszym kontekście i wtedy bardzo proszę zadać już bezpośrednio panu Markowi Krawczyńskiemu te wszystkie pytania. Natomiast teraz muszę już panu podziękować bardzo za prezentację. Dziękujemy wszyscy.
Bardzo dziękuję. Współpracujmy nad tym projektem i takimi projektami w przyszłości, bo to jest bardzo ważne dla całego środowiska. Dziękuję bardzo.